Hello, everyone. Ignore the 504 bag giveaway. I want to start off by saying I do apologize for cutting the stream kind of like really early yesterday. Something came up with me and my family. I was kind of debating if I could still even do the live stream, and in the end I couldn't, so I just had to abruptly end it. But I think everything is resolved. I hope, as far as I'm concerned, it is on my part at least. So let's discuss what we have going on today. We have a slight risk of tornadoes today. Now, this stretches for Louisiana and Texas again. This yesterday was just a Texas. Now it's into Louisiana. We also have a 2% wind risk. I mean, 2% tornado risk for places even farther into Texas, along with places in Louisiana, and even into Mississippi. So we have all that to watch for, along with a 2% risk in Washington and Oregon. When it comes to the damaging wind gust risk, that's a lot more, extreme out there. We have a 15% risk for damaging wind gusts in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas. We also have a 5% risk in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi, along with Idaho, places in Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. Watching that. And then when it comes to the hail risk, that's a lot more localized to just Texas with the 15% risk. But with the 5% risk, we're still watching places in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. So it's going to be a mainly Louisiana and Texas situation. All right, scattered severe thunderstorms are possible today into tonight from central Texas eastward into the lower Mississippi Valley. Obviously, now I gotta pull this. I'm kind of happy that we're doing a video today instead of like a live stream immediately. Because honestly, the way I did it yesterday was kind of like out there. I feel like I could have done a video first before doing live stream. But honestly, it was whatever. The live stream video worked out in the end. So while we wait for that, we're gonna check a few models, and then we're gonna talk about excuse me, we're gonna talk about the hurricane. Starting off here, let's look at surface-based Cape going into today. See, Cape is going to be moderately high in certain areas. And obviously, what normally happens here with the Gulf moisture is that Cape loves to spring up into Texas. And that's why places in Texas could sometimes get pulse type storms, but they don't have much like a lift, right? Like nothing to really get storms firing. And a lot of times, you either, when you have that Cape, you also have sin that comes along with it. But if you don't get that, the reason I say pulse type and not severe normally is because with that you have shear that's going to limit that. But today we don't have that shear isn't really going to limit there's enough shear to support the severe storms. So honestly, I think this 5% here on the 12:30 p.m. EDT update might be extended a bit more outwards, but that's a big might and that's a big ask. Anyway, back to the service space cape. I did not mean to interrupt. We're looking at places there, like we can, if we look at soundings here, right? We can see. I actually fully learned how to fully read the um autographs, right? At least scooties. No, these are autographs. Yeah, yeah. I hope I'm right. Either way, this is your temperature readings, right? But and these are basically your dew points. When the closer they are together, the more moisture there is. But this these are your lapse rates, and the lapse rates and the temperatures we're most concerned about. When you have lapse rates that are out here and like they're not in front of the red line, that's cape, and that's how strong your cape is. And you basically want it to stay like that. Your white line, you want it to stay out here as long as possible. And this one stays out here till we get 12 kilometers. So that is good enough for cape to get going. You really want anything past 6 kilometers is really bad on cape wise here. We can see not much of a straight line here on the skew tees. Not much of a straight line here on the skew T soundings. Not much of a hook either, but the critical angle is 142, which is very concerning for tornadoes. Storm Slinky is very out there. We're looking at severe weather. This is just a random place in Louisiana I selected, and this is not relative to everywhere in Louisiana. Cape is very high here. Sin's very low. This is surface based. LCOs are very low, so it's going to be great for tornadoes. And the LC is also very low, so it's going to be really good for tornadoes. I'm surprised that the SIN, I mean, the STP is so low. Just so I'm looking at these, so that means over here, yep. Yeah, SOH is very low, so there's not going to be much spin going. Yeah, let's take a look at that. But then I'm not expecting like just looking at that sounding there, I'm not expecting something like nothing major. We can see Cape is gonna get even high enough into like central Texas, those regions. Surface to base, Sin. Now again, Sin's gonna erode as the day goes on, and that's what's gonna get the storms to go. At least Sin pops up again as storms already progress. LCLs, places in like Louisiana and even in the mid Texas region, the LCLs are gonna stay low enough, and that's really good for tornadoes, but really bad if you don't want to see a tornado. So again, that's why I'm really thinking they might want to extend that 5% out a little bit. Like um maybe down into like right here maybe. That's a big ask. And not that I see too realistically happening. Bulk shear is actually going to really erode until these storms start like progressing. It's very interesting. So that's going to be something to watch. 0 to 6 though, we already looked at that earlier. That stays pretty strong the whole time throughout all this. So storms are gonna at least be able to be supercellular. But the question is, are they going to stay like that, or are they gonna like when they try to boost something, is it gonna be weaker? Looking at storm radar velocity, good news in Central Texas in that region that it doesn't reach that high. But if we're looking at I hate having to move this. Looking at this whole region, that storm radar velocity gets up there. And even like obviously you can see up to parts up to here. It also gets up there, but that K doesn't normally reach that high over there. 0 to 3 is normally always higher, but that's for the mesocyclones, and we can see it does get pretty high. So that's gonna be something we want to keep an eye out on. Looking at the EHI risks for today, we are looking at moderately high areas, places that reach up to 2, near 2, in parts of. I hate that I can't like just like move it. Anyway, really really high up in places like like the Louisiana area and even on the coast of Texas. So again, something you want to watch out for there. 0 to 1 is really important because that's when you're gonna get the touchdown, right? That's like the low level spin. So if you can get that going, you have a great chance for a tornado. And over here, this whole region 0 to 3 is a mesocyclone formation. Supercell composites for today. I'm not gonna look at the Oregon and Washington area as that's not a high enough tornado risk. But if it was a little bit higher, and they do the next update, they make that's really high here. Obviously, they're concerned about a tornado here, and as we can, this is very shocking here. They're really close centered at like 0 to 1 basically. But if I wish there was like others, okay. But the farther we get away, the less they're closer to each other, which is very surprising. But the Cape very high and this up to here, basically again, basically up to about like near 13 kilometers. So we're enough Cape, and it kind of hooks out a little bit there, so it's going to be very interesting to watch. Very high STP values, extremely high. We could be seeing not good, not good things happening in parts of Texas today. Very not. Yo! Oh, good grief. You can see here from last night the MCS that came through Texas is going to be exiting. I'm gonna get like a new drawing tool because I can't stand having to move it every single time. It's going to be exiting Texas, which is really good. But a new one forms here, and with the fear of some of these storms are definitely going to be discrete at first, and then they're going to form into linear, which always happens. It's always a common thing that happens. I'm telling you, after this stream, I'm getting a new drawing tool. Anyway, this is what we have from um that's from Texas into Louisiana. A mid to upper level low is crossing the southern high plains, heading east across Oklahoma by early Sunday. Strong cyclonic flow from 40 to 60 knots at 500 millibars is sweeping through Texas into the lower Mississippi Valley. A pre-existing MCS is moving through southwestern Louisiana and northwestern Gulf. We already saw that. So basically, what they're talking about here, first off, is the strong the mid-level jet is very strong at the moment, and that's going to be able to aid some cape as we saw on the soundings. And the upper and mid-level low, that's just gonna that's gonna be the things that cause storms. The Louisiana coastal zone, which is what I said was one of the main areas. The ongoing squall line will continue east into southern Louisiana, but inland instability lags behind, so the threat becomes more confined to coastal parishes. Hazards would be damaging gusts anywhere from 55 to 65 miles per hour, and a brief tornado possible, especially near the coast. Real quick, I just want to pull this up. I'm not live, so it's not like I can give like direct answers to people's questions and all that. There's no alerts at the moment, and just looking at the MRMS, this line is relatively like I don't want to say weak, but it's weakening. So it's nothing like too like worrisome at the moment. And but we have central slash east Texas is high uncertainty. I actually need to do something. Oh my god, I hate being quiet because it sounds like I just do nothing, but I'm actually texting someone. I probably should do this during a video, but it's still relatively important, and I don't want to forget. Earlier storms caused convection overturning, stabilizing much of the mid upper Texas coastal plains into I-35 corridor, which is what you normally see happening. And in like so, take April 27th for example. That day was the worst day in meteorology in my opinion. The only thing that rivals it is April 3rd and April 4th of 1974, but still, that's a topic for a different day. What happened was a QLCS came through the region and stabilized the whole atmosphere. That's what they were hoping. Instead, it destabilized the whole atmosphere even more and caused a whole new issue, even stronger supercells. Anyway, a composite outflow boundary now complicates where storms can redevelop, and forecast changes. Models differ significantly on where slash if instability returns. SBC notes very low confidence in afternoon slash evening evolution. We only checked the HRRR model, and I probably should have checked others. I'm not doing my job. NAM 3 kilometers here. Again, pretty accurate model in my opinion, but still a bit outlandish. Really does not have these storms like HRRR had it starting like right around here. NAM has these storms being a lot weaker and pushing out to sea becoming stronger then. So that's gonna be something to definitely watch. We'll look at other cams in a second. I just want to get through this discussion. Possible possible scenario is a conditional risk at the moment. Window of renewed destabilization may arc around the south and west side of the mesoscale high. Some soundings support moderate instability, strong west-southwest airflow aloft, and supercell potential. Hazards if storms fire, damaging wind gusts, a tornado possible with any semi-discrete supercells, and QLCS spin-ups if storm mode is linear. Possible adjustments, tornado risk nudged south, closer to richer moisture, is what we saw there. 15% hail moved from southeast Texas and Louisiana due to poor lapse rates and stabilized profiles from earlier storms. Bottom line for Texas slash Louisiana, this is a messy conditional setup. Severe storms could redevelop, but confidence is low. The best remaining risk is near the coast of Louisiana, where ongoing squall line maintains momentum. Pacific Northwest, the setup there is a mid-level trout and moisture plum arrived today. Strong ascent supports coastal thunderstorms developing in Washington slash Oregon. Hazards are near the immediate coast are brief tornado risk and moderately severe wind gusts. Farther inland, this is southeast Washington and north east Oregon. There's isolated severe wind gusts possible with stronger afternoon storms. Quick hitting, localized severe potential, nothing widespread like what could happen in Texas and Louisiana today. Key takeaways from southern Louisiana coast, confidence is moderate. Main hazards is damaging winds and brief tornado. Central/East Texas, confidence is low. This is very conditional. Damaging winds, isolated tornadoes if supercells form. Pacific Northwest, confidence is low to moderate. Brief tornado, isolated wind gusts. And southeast Washington/northeast Oregon, confidence is low and isolated severe wind gusts. Looking at other models, I'm going to look at my three favorite ones, which is the HRRR we already did, NAM 3 kilometers, and the RFSA. That's from yesterday. I'm going to push the 9s. That gets out of there. They agree a lot more with what the HRRR says, and unfortunately, they have a lot more discrete forming at the beginning. They have a lot more discreteness, and then eventually becomes a. That is not good. But they do have it forming a bit more. A very strong one up there. That's really discreet. This is something to watch. 2 out of 1 models. Right, we're not gonna look at every single model for this. I'll check the VAP model real quick. But it's not like I'm gonna go off and go like, okay, this is what every single model says. Let's get on it, right? I don't have time to do that. VAP is not good at, doing composite reflectivity. It cannot simulate certain things like that, and that's because it's in 13 kilometers instead of HRRR, which is in 3, NAM, which is in 3, and RFSA, which is also in 3. Actually, when we do the look at that, it's actually in 1 kilometer, so it's even better for stuff like that. Fortunately, whatchamacallit can't do that. So yeah, that's all we have on the severe weather risk portions of things. I do want to talk about what the National Hurricane Center has for Tropical Storm Melissa. This is as of 5 a.m. ET. Jamaica, Melissa's slow movement will bring multi-day period of damaging winds and heavy rainfall beginning tonight, likely causing catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides. There's an increasing risk of life-threatening storm surge early next week. All preparations should be completed today. Haiti, catastrophic flash flooding and landslides are expected across southwestern Haiti into early next week, likely causing extensive infrastructural damage and potentially prolonged isolation of communities. Immediate preparations to protect life and property are urged. Strong winds could also potentially last a day or more over the Turbania Peninsula. Dominican Republic, heavy rainfall could produce potentially catastrophic flash flooding and numerous landslides in the southern regions. And eastern Cuba, Bahamas, and the Turks and Caicos. Monitor Melissa closely. There is an increasing risk of significant storm surge, damaging winds, and heavy rainfall by the middle of next week. And eastern Cuba, the risk of life-threatening flash flooding and landslides is increasing. When we take a look at wind speed probabilities, this is tropical storm force winds. The risk if it has left Florida, and I did say that yesterday, but I still want to talk about this because you never know, anything's possible, and every model is saying something else. But yeah, Jamaica is going to get slammed by these tropical storm force winds. Yeah, it's not going to be good. 50-knot winds. Jamaica is still probably going to get it, but it's a lot more localized. And we have the hurricane force winds. Again, Jamaica's still probably going to get it. So I'm most concerned about Jamaica right now more than any other country. Looking at the rainfall forecasts, Jamaica has isolated 30 inches possible in some areas, and some areas can get 2 to 4 inches. Although that's unrealistic, some areas can still get 2 to 4 inches, while others can get 30 or more. Oh my god! Obviously, to put it up in retrospect in I think millimeters. I honestly don't know. You can check right here real quick. I'll give you like 30 seconds to check. Alright. Um, that's why I have to wait about. Here's the warning cone real quick if you guys are wondering. That's what we're really looking at here. The that hatched region is not official and that is subjected to change, which is why I kind of want to just take it off. That's the 3-day forecast, and that's what they're basically like for sure. They're like 100% confident that's what's gonna happen. So as we can see, Jamaica's in the crosshairs for this, and this is not gonna miss Jamaica. And it doesn't say like the exact wind speeds for it, but I think right before it makes landfall in Jamaica, it has a opportunity, like an opportune risk to become a Category 5 hurricane. It's right now projected to be Category 4, but it has the chance to become Category 5. So you want to keep a close eye on that. If you want to be ready, you know, if you're in Jamaica, I'm really concerned. And the gusts for it do reach Category, like way over Category 5 winds. We're expecting near like 175-mile-per-hour wind gusts. I think that's it though. That's really all I have to talk about for today. Um, I actually, honestly, I didn't even tell you guys what I'm expecting the live stream. uh, but I could be live. When does really like snow formation surely like get off? 21, so that's 19. So I could be live about like 3 p.m. EDT. That's 2 p.m. CDT. Sometime around there, probably. Earliest would be 1 p.m. EDT, and latest would probably be about 5 p.m. EDT. So if I haven't made a live stream by 5 p.m., I think the risk is probably going to be too low for storms to happen. But I think the only reason why there's a slight risk today and not like an enhanced risk is because we are not 100% sure where these storms are going to fire, and even if they're going to fire, if there was a more concrete like idea of it, I think the risk would be higher in certain spots. But that's everything I have to talk about today, up until I have to go live, if and when I have to go live. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me and it helps other people see the stuff, and actually would help me significantly for something I'm trying to get. But that's for a different topic. But seriously, that would help me out a ton if you guys can like and subscribe. It helps other people see the content, and yeah. That's all I have to say though. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you guys soon.